What's up, you cocksuckers? It's Dan and Luke from Duff Previews here to talk you through NRL's round 21's best bets. We're going to preview this shit. State of Origin is finished. And thank God we can get back to regular rugby league football on our weekends. What do you think of Game 3?
It wasn't.
It fucking sucked, eh?
It was very very underwhelming. Like, there was some good individual brilliance there from both teams, but it was a dead rubber, kind of underwhelming.
It was so dead.
Maybe saved Fittler's job, but again, I just think that was just Queensland. That was the worst game Queensland played. It wasn't. I don't think it was our absolute best game, but definitely showed some positivity. But again, I'd like to see those players play game 1 and 2.
Yeah. And I think if those players play game 1 and 2, New South Wales probably win the series. I think it's a really good team. They just, because the problem, it's not like New South Wales was shit this series. They just couldn't score points. Like, that's all it was. They dominated field position. The defense wasn't that bad. They just couldn't score with all the possession they had. So
the first 20 minutes, you thought the same thing though. Like, I think New South Wales dominated. Queensland got down the end of the field and scored. You're like, that has just summed up the series. Like, one mistake, one penalty, and away they go.
I know. And then Queensland switched off. But, it was a pretty shit game. I think I had one beer during that game, and I was halfway through the beer, and I was like, wow, this was a bad choice. Like, this doesn't feel right. No. It's not good. And it just sucked. It was one-way traffic. It was pretty boring, to be honest. So there was no biffs. There was nothing happening. So, absolute dead rubber. But we're back to 8 games of rugby league. We're in the business end of the season. Teams fighting for finals position. Cream really starting to rise to the top. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. I don't want to talk about headlines or nothing. I don't give a fuck about what's happening on NRL 360 at the moment.
It's all Tigers drama anyway.
It's all Tigers again?
Tigers, in-house fighting, and
that Greek bloke on there. Benji's not punching on with the recruitment bloke. It's like,
did you see the interview last night though? Lee Hengerbent-Tellis is his name. He's a lawyer. He was in the merchandise store doing the fucking interview. Did you see the $10? $10 for the footies? Very cheap. I was very impressed the footies are $10. But is he Peter Wins? Mate, you're doing a conference about in-house turmoil and shit. Let me go stand in front of the fucking merchandise store with my branded lawyer company all over the jerseys for you. It's like,
and he was so prepared for that interview too.
But he did it on Channel 9 and someone else as well, radio. He said the exact same thing on every single one of them. Like, classic lawyer though.
Yeah. Club is in shambles. Well, talking about the Tigers, they're actually our first game. It's not the most exciting game, I've got to tell you. I'd prefer to see this one at 6 p.m. on a Friday night, but, not in control of the draw here. We do have the Dragons versus the Tigers. Dragons $1.66 favourites. Tigers $2.44. I'm not going through the team list. Let's just talk business. Let's talk shop. Firstly, how the Dragons win this one? Is it that easy? Is that clear cut? $1.66. That's a pretty value money line, given the Tigers are absolutely dreadful. What do you think?
No,
Ben Hunt is back.
He is, but I've gone plus 3.5 Tigers. Ooh. If you look at these two teams historically, have actually, it's been pretty close. Magic round they played, remember, this year, and Tigers did win it. St. George bombed some tries, but then prior to that, at Combank Stadium in 2022, they won by 2 the Dragons and then won by 6 in that season. 2021 was a Tigers convincing win, and Tigers won again and won both games. So Tigers don't mind playing them, and I think I just don't think the Dragons, both teams are fucking dog shit, and I think that just suits the Tigers at the moment. They're good. They were good for 10 minutes the other night. I tell you who is the one shine like that, Jerome Buller.
Oh, get off it, mate. You work in commentary, get off his dick. What's fucking hell?
On for the ride. He is quality. To the point where I think Dave Morris is off to Penrith maybe next year, but
I don't know what he's going to do there.
Yeah, the one shine line probably was
to work closer to home.
Yeah, probably. But I'm taking Tigers plus 3.5. I just would not be comfortable with either team winning it. So I just take the team at the start and hope that they don't lose. They don't win. They lose by only 2. So,
jeez, what a bet. Well, I've got a similar thought process. Both of the teams absolute dog shit. But I'm taking the overs. So this game's out in Wynn Stadium. Sunny conditions all week. Should have a good dry track. The Tigers are dog shit, but they love to throw that ball around. Neither team has any defensive grit. I know some past games that were quite. The last game was a low-scoring game, actually. I don't think we see a replica of that one. I think the points will flow. Both of these teams aren't making the 8. They're just going to fucking throw the ball around. There'll be more energy when you've got the ball compared to when you don't. I think both teams are confident they can get a win. So I think the attack will probably be on song for both teams. So I'm taking the points. Give me that over 44.5, baby. That's coming home. Fuck these teams. 30 points each. Hopefully they both lose. Fucking losers. Shit club. Wasting my Thursday night. But yeah, give me points. Give me points. Buller will score. Ravel will score. Ben Hunt will score. I reckon Billy Burns will score too. I actually think he's a pretty good player, Billy Burns. He was in Penrith, wasn't he?
He's a Penrith boy, yeah.
Yeah, he's very good. Stefano looked very angry at certain points throughout the game last week. Appy's scheming. Bateman, he's sure to have a punch up soon.
He's holding. He's going to punch on his own teammates. There was a play last week where he didn't pass, so you just see the center winger throw their hands up. Or he's going to snap his own team soon. It's going to be great.
Yeah, he's going to let them hands go. So I wish I could put money on him getting into a stoush with someone. I reckon. Well, Jack Bird's back from injury, actually. Off the bench. Jack Bird on in the 30th minute. A bit of jumper grabbing with John Bateman. I think we might see a bit of that. So, too bad you can't bet on it. But, yeah, give me the overs. Let's get into some better games. Warriors versus the Raiders on Friday night. Game is at New Zealand. The Warriors $1.43 favourites up the Wars. Raiders $2.86. Both teams in very good form. Raiders are sitting 4th on the ladder at the moment, and the Warriors are in 5th. Pretty healthy teams. Looking at their lineups, the Raiders get some big ins back. So do the Warriors. So both forward packs looking very strong. The Wars is everybody's second favorite team. I actually didn't back them last week. I thought, for some reason, Cronulla would be able to do something. I think I was thinking revenge was on their mind. It clearly wasn't.
No.
But what do you think of this game?
6.5 is lovely. I'm taking the Wires minus 6.5. They played each other only like 3-4 weeks ago in Croker's 200th, and they pulled their pants down in Canberra. If Canberra couldn't get up for that game, which they tried, they obviously in New Zealand, they're going to struggle. And I just think Croker's I saw Josh Reynolds retired last week. I think Croker could have done the same thing to make way. He's a passenger at the moment. That last Raiders game was against last week. Sorry, they had the bye last week, didn't they? Yeah. The week prior was the Dragons game. That Dragons right edge were just killing them, and then someone got injured, and they moved Lomax back to fullback, and it fucking went to shit. Before that, Lomax was just killing Croker. So I think the Warriors
Rocco Berry's going to go to town.
Rocco Berry and Dallin are going to have a field day. That is your multi there. Put him in for first, second, or third try score like the other week they did against the Dragons. The Warriors are going to just carve them up down that right side, which they did a few weeks back also. So Warriors minus 6.5. And I think the Warriors, like a lot of people are sometimes borderline racist when they say, Warriors football, they throw it around because they're from New Zealand. But they're just consistent. Their worst game, the difference between their worst and best is tiny now. Like
very disciplined team.
Yeah, the best isn't, again, going to win a comp. They're not like they need to go up another couple levels, but their worst isn't going to make them fall out of the 8. That's how they're landing. So
they've got a great run home. This is probably their hardest game for the rest of the season.
That's crazy. Top 4 is like a real possibility for the Warriors. So they're currently 5th. Yeah, 5th, literally on for and against ahead of them other Raiders. So
okay, so you're on the Wars. I do like the Wars too, but Raiders are in sneaky good form. They just find a way to keep things close and hang around. I'm taking the second half as the highest scoring half. $1.87 for this one. I'm looking at, both forward packs ripping in, keeping it somewhat close for the first 30 minutes. Might see a try just before halftime, but then looking for the Raiders to fade, doing what they do best. I reckon they'll fade, and the Warriors will absolutely pump them in the second half. So I wanted to look at. I was looking at even Raiders 11 to 20 points. I reckon they'll score 2 to 3 tries, but playing it a little bit safe. The Warriors have been having pretty high scoring games as of late, so Raiders are capable of scoring, as we've seen lately from them. So just playing it safe. The second half, highest scoring half at $1.87 on 365. Give me that. Up the wires.
The one market I would like to look at closer, maybe tomorrow, is the points line and looking at getting in the unders. The weather in New Zealand is heavy rain, gale force winds again. So
30K wins.
Yeah, so the under 42.5 looks like a steal at the moment.
I was looking at that too. But not enough markets. I actually went back to look at the June 30th game against the Rabbitohs to see what the weather was then. So, fuck, if you told me it's 30K wins, I still don't know what that means. I had to look at today in Sydney, for example, we had like 9-kilometer winds. And I was like, yeah, but I was inside. I don't know what the fuck that was. I couldn't compare it to anything. But I do remember watching that game against Souths, and yeah, similar conditions. Not going to be great. Windy as fuck. Fogarty and Johnson are going to be bombing the shit out of this ball. It's going to be swirling all over the place. So I was thinking unders as well. I was actually going to go first half unders. That's what I wanted. Couldn't find first half unders, so I'm taking second half most points scored, assuming that there's probably 3 tries in the first half, not even 2 tries. I think whilst they're fresh, you're probably not going to see many points, but
it does though play into the Raiders' style of just crash and bash footy. If they were a team that throws the ball around, then the weather would be perfect to go on the unders, but they won't have to adjust much.
Yeah, so, and I think it lends to the forward battle is going to be so important given the conditions. Both forward packs are quite strong, so be interesting to see who wins that matchup. Like AFB is probably the form front rower in the comp. Payne Haas probably the best one, but AFB is a fucking animal. He's so good. But yeah, some good insights. Weather's going to be bloody awful, so we'll see if Dallin can get that ball. He was pretty. They obviously didn't score much against South, right? But
they scored the 1 try. South actually handled the conditions better. That was the best. That was the best South. That was out of the blue. Like they were terrible until that week, and then all of a sudden they strung that game together. From memory, the Cowboys flogged them the week before in Sydney.
Yep. So yeah, it's a bit. I think that was a big hesitation for taking such a big line, given the weather's going to be awful. But the difference is South, given the opportunity, they can score points.
Yeah.
Right. Then that's what made the biggest difference in that game. It's not like they didn't dominate field position, possession, nothing like that. It's just the Warriors couldn't score when they had the opportunities, and Souths could. Whereas the Raiders, I don't see them scoring when they get a chance. I think in shit conditions, they probably can't put as many points on. So, all right. Speaking of Souths, let's get into the main event of the week. It's an actual main event of the week. South Sydney Rabbitohs versus the Brisbane Broncos. It's at the Sunshine Coast Stadium. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Women's World Cup starts this week, so all the the big stadiums are being used, including a Core Stadium.
Right, but this is a Rabbitohs home game.
Oh no, this would be their. They have to send it. Oh, they usually go to Mudgee for their games, don't they? Or the Dragons. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Usually, every team has to send a game away into the country, but I'm almost certain Rabbits send theirs to Mudgee every year or something.
Yeah.
I'm getting mixed up.
And this is a South home game, so I don't know. Well, the week before, NRL.com fucked us with a couple of venues. So, look, I'll take it as a Broncos away game anyway, because that forms part of my calculations. Broncos $2.15 outsiders, Souths $1.71. Souths get a fucking stack of pricks back. Murray, Graham, Walker, Cook, Sele, Host, Arrow, Cartwright, Cole-Matangi, and Latrell all back for the Rabbitohs, which is actually crazy. They were missing all those blokes at the same time. And for the Broncos, Carrigan, Haas, and Walsh, our 3 best players, really. They're all back. So we're almost full strength. It's only Flegler we're really missing. South have pretty much everybody back. Tane Milne, he got suspended, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So some scrub will probably be sitting on that wing. I don't know, Richie Kenner or someone. Probably score the bastard, but it's a really good game. What do you think's going to happen? What do you think?
I just had a look also in 2 weeks' time. Rabbitohs play a game in Perth, so I don't know what they're fucking doing. A home game, by the way. I've gone the Rabbits to cover the line here, just because I know it's in the Sunshine Coast, but this is the strongest South team we've had since the start of the year when they went on that run. So I'm going to take the -2.5. I'm just not convinced with the Broncos. They're back at where they were prior. Even last week, it was the Dogs. There were periods there where I was thinking, they still conceded 24 points against the Dogs. That was my bit. Like I was a bit like they're leaking points now. Definitely scoring points, but not the same convincing Broncos that we've had. And it's obviously this during Origin, but the Dolphins even gave you a tough game during that period. The Titans beat you. Like it's still. For me, I'm more comfortable going on Souths, knowing this is usually when they start to get going before the finals. They get that on that run, whereas the Broncos historically start to slow down. So I'm taking the Souths with the start, and Latrell being back, he's got to be fired up. So
yeah, he's got to be. I wonder what type of shape he's going to be in.
He could be bigger than Shaq. He could be.
What did he miss? 8 weeks or something?
Yeah, he missed a while.
Yeah. And, interested to see what, he probably only run for 50 meters in this game.
That's a big game for him, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Cody, he'd have a lot of confidence coming out of Origin. Latrell's back. My initial lean was on the Rabbitohs, to be honest. I didn't look for reasons to pick Brisbane, but then, looking at form, the Rabbitohs have been pretty shit, to be honest. They got that win against the Warriors. They've been pretty bad lately. The Broncos haven't been convincing, but they've been okay. I actually liked the Dogs last week when they were versing Brisbane. We know that Brisbane are terrible during the day. It was a 2:00 game, so I was a bit worried about
ground that. Belmore was shit.
Yeah, rubbish ground,
and it looked like a very average ground.
Yeah, and the Broncos, when they played that first game without Reece Walsh, their attack was awful. So I thought this plays into the Dogs' hands, but we just dropped 44 on their bloody heads and caught me by surprise. But Reece is back, so our attack should be a lot better. It was good that Payne got injured, actually, so he got some time to rest. Carrigan got rested, but he didn't want to be.
Look at his contract.
Yeah, had to count his zeros. I'm going with Brisbane on this one purely because I didn't know the game was at. I thought the game was in Sydney, to be honest. The Rabbitohs play better away compared to at home. I think they've lost their last 3 home games. Broncos have won their last 3 away games, and we have the best record away from on the road out of all teams this season. So I was really playing into that hand. So I could get the Broncos with a 3.5 start at $1.91 or 3.65 too. So 1.5 I probably wouldn't, but 3.5 a bit tantalizing. So I was interested to take that one there. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if, South would blow us off the park. But yeah, not the most confident bet, but we've lost 1 road game all year.
That's true.
Fucking surely. And we know South have dropped some clangers at home. And Latrell, we don't know how fit he is. It's going to be a really intense game. I think it'll be high quality. I think it comes down to Cody versus Reece Walsh. Who's gonna set these points up? But I think Reece Walsh loves rugby league. Hasn't had a chance to play for 3 weeks. Like he's gonna be fucking mental. He'll be taking risks like a degenerate on his last dollar. Just going mad.
Hail Marys.
So, I'm pretty keen to say that. And I want to. We're not playing a back on the bench. You say last week, Kevy played Selton Cobbo at lock. Did you notice that?
Yeah, someone had him in our fucking multi.
I had him too.
I had Ezra. I think I did 3 out of the 4 legs. I needed Cobbo. Fucking useless. So yeah, I'm well aware of him moving into lock and cuckolding my same game multi.
I thought it was interesting. which is it was good to see some creativity.
Sorry, Avarillo and Herbie Farnworth, but Herbie did score in the last minute, so I really shouldn't have won that one either.
Yeah, but I thought it was good to see some creativity. Put Selwyn in the middle because he falls asleep out on the wing sometimes. So I thought that was quite interesting. They'll probably try it again up against some lower.
Is he going to be the next Corey Oates?
Selwyn? No,
yeah,
I don't
just turn him into a running forward, and then all of a sudden they're moving back. And
I think the thought process is to potentially play him in the centres next year. He'll fill Herbie's spot potentially. He just needs more action because at the moment he just does shit work and finishes tries, where he's got the skills to play centre for sure. So I don't know. We'll see what Kevy does, but no, I'm pretty keen for that game. Extremely. So Reece Walsh v Cody Walker. It's going to be a skits time. I probably, outside of the Broncos line, I'm probably not going to put any other bet on it, so I can just enjoy it. I really just want to enjoy that game. So, and if I know a bet on it, I'm probably going to be very Broncos biased. So I don't want to get upset twice in the same game. Into our slutty Saturday though. Oh God, couple bludger of a game here. Gold Coast versus the Roosters. It is at Seabuy Super Stadium, which lends to the Titans' hands. They are $2.19 outsiders. The Roosters at $1.68. The line's 3.5. Tino's out for that shoulder charge. What do you think about that, by the way? 3 weeks fair? Fucking hell.
No.
Same as RCG.
He's getting the Victor branding on him, but he does have a bit of history at the Jaguar Hargroves. He is a bit of a grub.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't find Tino does grubby things. He does illegal things. Whereas Jared is like grubby chance to injure people stuff. Like I don't like the way that he does it. Whereas Tino, he's not afraid to shoulder charge people for some reason because he gets away with it a lot. They don't call him up on it. So he gets away with shit like that. But yeah, 3 weeks is pretty steep. And I think he's their best player. Like he just does. Last week, he came off the bench. He still had the most runs. He was a bloody workhorse. He was a machine. And then up against this Roosters team, which is fucking stacked, but it's one of the worst teams in the comp.
It's so shit.
I've backed the Roosters a few times thinking, all right, I think against Manly I backed them, and against Melbourne I thought this is the week. This is the week. This is the week. And they fucking suck, man. They can't score.
They can't score. They're just top to bottom. 90% of the coaches would kill for this roster.
Absolutely.
And they're just so fucking bad. Like, they blame injuries, but, mate, they're fucking stacked. Like, they're still got, like, amazing players in every position. Yes, they've had injuries, but, like, they're so underwhelming. I've taken literally Titans. I think that's a steal. Probably get proven wrong, and Roosters will click, and all of a sudden people will be talking about who's going to miss the 8 because the Roosters are getting in. But I think, the line plus 3.5, it's in Gold Coast. I know they're missing Tino, but again, they get Brimson back. They're not a bad team, the Titans. They're similar to the Warriors, but not quite as good in terms, but they're consistent. Like there's no...
They're better. Yeah.
There's no like really fucking shit game in them. So I think they will be close and competitive against the Chooks. So I think they could easily win it. I just don't understand why the Roosters are favourites when they've given us nothing versus the Titans, who have been dudded last week, dudded the week before, and by a field goal against. They've lost to Para and the Cowboys by a kick, who are way better.
They got robbed against Para.
Yeah, robbed. Like again, they're much more reliable, high performing team. I just can't see where they're getting this line from. It's a hopeful line to me. So,
yeah, if the market was out, and it isn't at the moment, I would have taken the Titans overs on points. The Roosters' defense isn't good. They are playing at the Gold Coast, so it should be a high scoring affair. Can't guarantee the Roosters will score, but I would have taken the Titans overs. I would assume it would be total points line's 46, so you could say the Roosters are probably at 24, 25, 24 and a half. Gold Coast will probably have a line of 21 and a half or something. 20 and a half perhaps. So Yeah, I'd probably take the Titans to cover that. I can see him scoring 4 tries against these bloody Roosters, who are woeful, but market's not out yet, but definitely one I'll play on the Saturday. So you're taking the Tits. I like the Titans' points. What do you think's wrong with the Roosters' attack when you watch them? What the hell? What are they doing?
I just think Trent Robinson has never adapted or changed his game.
You know, they got Roosters, a lot of line breaks last week. They're just going to score.
Yeah, but they just played. He calls it Roosters football, and they've played They've played the same way though since they've won the comp. Like they play that really direct, hard running line, body on the line type physical football, which results in injuries, concussions. You see all the concussions they get. Like I don't care. I've gone 360 and say it. They play a very like direct and aggressive style of football, and its teams have figured it out. And they've never adapted, whereas Melbourne have adapted throughout the years. Like I know they've been controversial because they're wrestling tactics, but they've always changed and adapted the way they play.
Yeah, they got a lot of finesse.
They do. Whereas, yeah, like again, look at that team, that Melbourne team that's playing the last 2 years is nothing like the team that played 4 or 5 years ago. The Roosters, though, just played the same thing, very direct and straight and hard running back rowers, out the back plays with your wingers, but they're just predictable.
That's true. Like Luke Keary's been playing okay, but he's very predictable here, and he has a few tricks, and he does them well. He does his short side, he beats his defender out, but that's all he's doing.
Which historically for them, the last couple of years in particular, has worked against most teams. Or when they play the big teams, they just can't get another gear or another answer for. Like Melbourne last year, that game in Melbourne, they stepped up and beat them, but that was it. That was their peak, and then they got absolutely mowed down in the finals by Souths, who went up another level and had about 6 sin bins each. Penrith this year have put scores on them because they just haven't adapted their game, and Penrith are so confident against them now. Melbourne last week, the same thing. So it blows my mind how there's no pressure on Robinson. Like his best season was 3 years ago when they had nobody. They were so fucking depleted on injuries, and they made a run into like 6 or something. That was their best year, and they had no reason to be. Since then, they've had tough seasons, but the worst squad he's had has been his best season. The best squad he's got.
Was that Morris's last year?
Second last year. He got injured again the next year.
Oh, right.
So it was the year Penrith. I think Penrith made the final. Yeah, and lost them. So 2020, the COVID. The COVID year was probably, and they had no right to be in there. Like that was, I think he won Coach of the Year. Oh, it might have been Cleary because they went on that run actually. He was. They raved on. They made the top 4 with that team, and they had fucking no excuse to be there. The next 2 years, same thing. They had injuries, like Morris season ending, blah blah blah. Then they had retirements, and then still they have this team this year. Which again, yes, they've had some injuries, but like, how can you constantly be getting injuries? They're always getting injuries. Like it's the way they play.
Pretty old. They got an old team.
Yeah. But you look at like the way they play, it just doesn't suit. And then they've got like the issues with like Suli'i falling out. Radley just does not seem interested either. He's had to rein it in the way he plays.
Playing in the second row. Like I noticed last week against Melbourne, sometimes he'd just be so passive. It looked like as if he was offside. He just didn't want to get in front.
Yeah.
It's interesting. All right, up the tits. The next one, we've got Newcastle versus Melbourne at McDonald Jones Stadium. The Knights $3.30, the Storm $1.34. I think both are in a 3-game win streak. Knights winning games that they should, I guess. They're not getting absolutely demolished, believe it or not. I think against Penrith it was close. Against Brisbane it was close. They're hanging around. But Melbourne, I feel like they've been underwhelming all year, but they sit pretty nicely on the ladder. I haven't been very happy with Melbourne, but they're sitting third. They're 2 points away from Penrith and Brisbane. So, look, they've gotten this far, and they've gotten through their injuries. We don't know. Is what's his name coming back? Is Paps coming back this year? You reckon?
Apparently, he's only a few weeks away. But it's for me, it's
why?
Like, what's the? You can't tell me this guy's been out for that long, and unless he comes back like this week or next week,
yeah.
bringing him back for a week or two before finals isn't going to be good. So,
well, look, at the same time, they're playing Tyron Wishart at 14.
Yeah, fair point.
So, Paps could take his spot very easily. I actually don't have a play on this game. I was tossing and turning the whole time. Knights are playing better. Melbourne playing good too. It is in Newcastle, so the Knights should get up for this one. Ponga's playing really good. Munster's still somewhat quiet, I guess. Playing a bit better, but, it's not shooting the lights out for me. I said that 2 weeks ago. Jerome Hughes actually played good last week.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I chose not to play this game because I didn't know where it was going to land. What are you thinking?
Melbourne minus 8.5. Knights, Yep, they've won their last two, but they beat the fucking Dogs and Tigers. They literally had the dream 2-week fixture. The week prior, they kept it close against Penrith, but Penrith were literally, as Christian Welch saying, playing with half a team. How did they not beat them? And the week prior, they beat the Roosters. Sorry, they lost to the Roosters by 2 points, who I've just been talking about and have been absolute shit. And then they lost to the Broncos by 4 points. But again, that was a bizarre game up at Suncorp. I don't know what the fuck happened
That's
there.
What I'm saying. Like, it could be another bizarre game here. Melbourne won a 12 is what I was thinking.
Yeah, whereas Melbourne put 54 on Cronulla, 28 on. They won by 22 against the Tigers, won by 18 against Manly. They lost to Penrith, who were clearly ahead of everyone in terms of the comp, and then put 14, beat the Roosters by 14 in Sydney. So I think they covered the 8.5 because I think of all the games they've played recently, apart from Penrith, this would be just as easy. So
yeah, I think it's just two teams. The trends don't necessarily correlate very well together.
I think if the Knights are any legitimate chance of being a top 18, they have to win it. So if they do win it, then I would be very eager to see them make a push for the finals. It would make it interesting if they won because there's a few teams just outside the 8 who are challenging. So
yeah, true. I guess we'll have to see. I think Melbourne will win. I just don't know by how much. Is it the Knights clawing it back late, or is it just a demolition job? I do not know. But all right, you got the Storm 8.5. Brave, I like it. Cowboys versus Parramatta Eels. Your last game on a Saturday night. It's at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. The Eels are missing RCG after his knee drop from the top rope. What about Mike Acevo? Do you know where he's at? Is he still in the judiciary?
I think he's still in there. I haven't heard.
Still in there? Another 4-hour job?
Wallace was downgraded. No, it hasn't been updated yet.
No? Okay. Well, I guess Sevo or not. I guess you're not. He doesn't do much anyway, to be honest. So, Cowboys, I think they opened up at 1.5 favorites, and RCG got charged, and the line really started to move. 7.5 at the moment. I'm taking the Cowboys to cover that. So they've really just turned it on after Origin. So, and they got 6 players or something in Origin. So, I think they could take that form and really lift. The Eels were lucky to get away with their win. They were offside when Tanner Boyd was taking that drop goal. Should have been a penalty.
They were. Well, the Titans were penalised the week before for that.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. They got robbed.
They got fucked.
But, Gutho, that miraculous try, absolute fluke. Yeah, I don't know. I saw some posts, actually. Some people are betting on Parramatta to miss the 8.
Yeah, it's tricky with the ladder because, and I know I got money on it, but I kind of think it's going to be very hard for the Cowboys to get into the 8. They've not got the...
It comes down to Cowboys or Para, right?
And it's going to, I think, come down to the very last game of the season, Cowboys going to Penrith to play Penrith, and whether Penrith will rest players.
Rest them. Yeah.
That could be it. Like, it could be Penrith are playing for a home final in top 2, or they're guaranteed top 2 and they rest players. And that is probably where it's going to come down to, because in the meantime, the Cowboys still have to play you guys. I believe they play you guys Suncorp this time, or at Townsville. Yeah, they've got you guys at Townsville. They've got the Titans Sharks Dolphins, which I think they'll win, but it's going to be, and the last game's Penrith at 5:30 on Saturday, so it's not the last game in the round either. So it could come down to them having to go to Penrith to beat Penrith because, as we said earlier, like Canberra Warriors, they have pretty easy draws. The Rabbits are a strong team. You can't imagine them missing. Like it could be Eels between Eels and Cowboys, or as we just talked about before, if the fucking Roosters all of a sudden click. And go on a run and win their remaining games. Like, it's crazy, I know, but...
It's true. They're only 2 games out, but fuck, they suck.
They suck. They do suck, and they're fought against a shit house. But that's where the Cowboys, even with that 74-point win, they're still 50 points for and against worse off than the Rabbits, which is essentially a game. So, yeah, I've gone the overs in this game. I think both teams, even the Cowboys against Manly had so much ball and opportunity to score. And I think the one thing Para can do is put points on. I just think their defense is absolute dog shit. They conceded 24 against the Titans, 46 against the Warriors. Even the Dolphins put 20 on them. So there's going to be points in it. But Para, I don't know. Like, again, they're similar to the Rabbits. This time of year, they start to go on that run. Like, it's they're only missing Wandering Hands deal bags. So and Sivo can't be worth that many points. He's been shit this year. He is the most least intimidating big winger I've seen.
Yeah, he sucks. He's getting softer by every week.
He's getting worried about the contact and everything when he was literally nearly murdering people in his first game.
Ravalawa he's getting bigger every week. Like, he's a scary bloke, and he's got the same build.
Yeah.
So very different. I think you can pick a more dangerous winger in every club in the comp, to be honest.
Yeah, he's not threatening like he used to be. No. And these tries he's scoring, he's basically catching and putting down.
The easy ones.
Yeah, he's not catching and running over players and putting the ball down.
Yeah, so, he's not like Marju. He's running people over all the time. Like that guy's a freak.
Him being out doesn't faze me, really, to be honest.
No. I didn't like Dejan Arce in their last game against the Titans. He was awful. His passes were bad. He was going sideways the whole time. I feel like his best games were when he was playing at 7, when Moses was out. Arce played better, but at 6, it doesn't seem to be working very well. But Cardi Party was good. He was really good.
Cardi Party's good, and if you're forcing Madison to play off the bench, it's not a bad team. So I think through the middle they'll go all right against them. Because even the Cowboys playing Tamalolo off the bench still is a fucking big dick move.
Yeah. Well, they're pretty deep, the Cowboys. They've got a pretty strong forward pack. If Drinkwater plays as good as he can, he's an absolute machine.
I agree.
It's all happening.
I think that's game of the round. This is game of the round for me. Like, this could be an absolute shootout. Like, I think Parrot 282 are a bit of value, personally. Because, again, they went up there in the prelim final last year and beat them up there. So they don't have problems going up to Townsville when the pressure's on. Obviously, a weaker Para team. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a cracking game.
It's a must win. So are you taking Para?
Para up at the start. And then overs as well.
You reckon there's going to be points?
Yeah, it's going to be a shootout. Both teams will go through phases where they can't tackle.
Let it rain. 47.5 the total, eh?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Both goal kickers are Moses. Why did Moses kick in Origin either? And they put Crichton as goal kicker. That's another life mystery to me. I forgot about that.
Crichton played good in that game though. His defense.
Mate, he played amazing. But again, Moses goal kicks day in, day out.
I would probably say he's kicking, the best. Put his percentages beside. I think Moses is. He's
kicking at 82% this year. Like, he's kicking the best he's kicked since 2017 at 83%. Like, he's not. Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's not like he's missing. Crichton wouldn't be 83% goal kicker because that's Cleary-esque.
Yeah, it's strange. I don't know. It's because I couldn't tell you. Yeah, I don't know what the hell fucking Freddie's doing half the time. So
here you go. Crichton goal kicking percentage. Fuck me, I'm wrong. 83.33 statistically. Crichton. Well, I'll be damned.
But it doesn't take into account where he's kicking them from, right? Like Marcus close to the top try scorer in the comp. Like he only scores in the corner. I haven't seen him run it under the post once. So.
Fucking Cleary 89%. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah.
He's good.
But Penrith scores all over the place, right? Your second row will score a lot of points.
Mate, Tago. Fucking wingers.
Tago. I did pick him for a good game last week.
Nice.
But anyway, speaking about the bloke, Tago and crew, Penrith versus the Dogs. Penrith are $1.03.
Huge.
The line's $1.02 on Bet365. Line is 26.5 points here. It's out at Blue Bet. I question whether the Bulldogs should even turn up because, put it this way: if the Dogs just forfeited this game, they wouldn't lose any of their fans.
No, they'd go. It's a very smart and safe move.
Yeah. If they just put it, minus 20 on their for and against, put it as a loss, everyone gets rested. I think that's the best play. Crash the bus on the way in. But, yeah, it's going to be a fucking shock at this game. But I'm taking the Dogs to score under 10 points at $1.95. What are you taking?
I've gone the overs, over 46.5. Yeah, it's a game
Penrith
for me where
over 46.5.
Yeah, well, Penrith, but also history between these two. I remember last year I was at the game. Burton scored a double at least, and that was the game where he put up that bomb, and it was fucking in heaven, basically. And plus, Kickout is on the extended bench, so if he gets pushed into play, he's going to be up for a big game.
No fucking way against these pricks. Would you really?
That's why I don't think they would, but he could be screaming out, "Give me a run." It's just that every time Penrith has had a line like this, they've never been like the most convincing. Even a couple.
Was it Dolphins, Dragons, or the line like this?
There was a game in Penrith. Might have been 2021 at home in Penrith. It was a massive line, and we won by 26, but it was 10-0 at halftime. And we were dominating, but we couldn't put them away. Like we've never had a game where a line's this big. I feel like, and we've been absolutely flexing because we can see some shitty
best
tries.
Attacking team, are you? You aren't even close, right?
No, we're the best defensive team by a mile.
Of course, but in terms of attack,
like it's
not bad.
No, it's not bad. But Eels
like the Sharks.
Eels actually have the best attack.
Yeah.
Eels, then Sharks.
I think the Sharks do. The Eels have one extra game.
Rabbitohs, Warriors, Broncos, then Penrith. In the 8, there's only we're the 6th best. Storm and Raiders have a worse attack than us in the 8.
Yeah.
So we're not
defensively. Yeah. You're like nothing can get close to you defensively. So
no, they scramble very well. Yeah. I'll take the overs, and because Cleary's back as well. So
at least you can guarantee 6 points, 90% of your tries.
Unlike Cogger, fucking hell,
fuck, he's bad.
He even knows he's back. He was laughing. No, you see his action? Like I was like, surely. And then Edwards comes in, hits the most beautiful kick. Now, why the fuck is he not kicking?
I got no idea. I would have just gave it to Liam Martin. Like, just give it to someone else. Like,
I said, do it like you do in junior footy. Whoever scores gets to take the conversion. Like, Leota should have taken. I reckon Leota would have kicked the first one.
Oh, how good was his celebration? Fuck, that got me hyped. Because as a wrestling fan growing up, that Batista move was one of my favorites when he used to do it on the ropes.
Yeah.
As well. Wow. That got me going. And Moses Leota is the perfect man for that job.
Yeah.
So I thought that was brilliant. That was a play of the round. All right. So you got Penrith to cover. You're taking the overs. I've got Dogs to score less than 10. I think their only chance to score points is, Toby Sexton actually opened up their points, but he's a fucking cat, resulting in bloody Selwyn getting sin binned. What a joke that was, eh?
Yeah.
Far out. His nose was bleeding because of the knee to the face on the ground, not because of the forearm. Freaking coward. Beavis and Butthead looking motherfucker, but he's not playing, so their chance of scoring, I think, is gone. They got Flanagan in there. Scrubs, honestly. One-way traffic. And then we get into the last game. Sharks v Manly. Battle of the Beaches. Both teams pretty bloody shit, to be honest, based on where you thought they would land. Cronulla sitting 6. It's probably accurate. I thought they'd drop off from last year, but fading fast. It's pretty crazy that they can't beat a good team.
Like, it's mental.
Normally you can get one scalping, but they can't at all. So $1.35 favourites, 8.5 line for the Sharks. They've made a lot of changes. My man Connor Tracy's back in. Siffer's on the bench. Who else is out? Fucking
Moylan.
Who's the second row? I'll put money on the score, and he never does. Teague Wilton. He's out as well. Moylan's out. I don't know if that helps them, but
Moylan lately has been an absolute speed hump. He cannot tackle to save his life. Like, it was.
That's most of Cronulla, They just, for some reason, they've got such a physical team. They just suck sometimes. It's weird, but you're up against Manly. These guys are rocks and diamonds. They'll put the clamps. Remember, they put the clamps on Melbourne, absolutely destroyed them, and then they were dog shit the week after.
Yeah, true.
So they're capable of so much, and it's been a long time without Tommy now. You can't use that as an excuse. Ruben Garrick, he used up all of his magic powers for like a 4-week stint. He's got nothing left. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this game, to be honest. Everything tells me that the Sharks should bounce back. There's a lot of media attention. They're versing a team that's below them on the ladder, so they should blow them out, right? 8.5, nothing. But
yep,
is that what you're going?
Yeah, I've got them blowing them out. The Moylan, to give context for Moylan, he missed 6 tackles last week. Yeah, he's over Jimmy Maloney's stats. So they dropped him because of that, and Talakai's just defensively, they're just shit. And all the talk about Fitzgibbon being defensively mindset. So I don't mind the change. I think Braden Trindle, for me, if I was
really good when he played.
If I was a team like the Tigers, I would be trying to sign him and not fucking Caesar or Cogger. Like, he is just comes in, just does a job. So
that's true.
I think he's going to be much better suited to Hines. So I've got him covering, and also I just think Manly, that was their chance last week. If they were going to be serious about making the 8, they needed to beat the Cowboys at home. They did it. They had fucking plenty of opportunities to do so. So yeah, I've got them, unfortunately, getting flogged by more than 8 this weekend.
Right. Well, looking at the stats for missed tackles, Matt Moylan's 10th in the comp, 60 missed tackles so far this year, which means there's a lot of players who are worse than him. Number 1 is Reed Marnie, 87 missed tackles this year.
And have you seen him when he misses? He is like getting thrown off, like bumped and sent flying.
It's like, how do you miss that many tackles when you're tackling front rowers the whole time?
You're a dummy half. Like, that is your job. Like, yeah, they're bigger than you, but you've made that position yours to the point where you know how to tackle the big fellas.
Yeah. Ezra Mann, not far behind him, 85. If anything, Ezra Mann's probably the worst. He's played one less game than Reed Marnie. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but again, Ezra Mann defends on an edge and he's a half. Like, they get
picked on.
Yeah, but then again, you look at the next couple: Mitch Kenny, Harry Grant. They're all hookers. Appy in there. Yeah, Chad Townsend, Jackson Ford.
Kurt Capewell, that doesn't surprise me. He's fucking hopeless.
There you go.
Interesting. Katoni Staggs. Jeez, he misses a lot of tackles. But Katoni Staggs is a hero. He has to one-on-one everyone.
Yeah.
Like, he makes so many one-on-one tackles, but he miss a lot because he's rushing on blokes. But it's interesting. They don't talk enough about individual player stats in this game. Like, they talk about
team stats.
Like team stats or players' tries.
In America, it's the opposite. It's very individual based. What they talk about a player, this player averaged this, this year he's having a season high.
Yeah.
Like, whereas over here, they never talk about their stats, which I find really, it's really like, if you look at this, it's where you look at teams' holes in defense and you go, I wonder why the Tigers are shit when they've got like so many players missing tackles. It's very insightful. Let's put it that way.
Look at this. This is an interesting one. Sean Lane tops the competition in charge downs this year with 4. He's only played 8 games.
Mate, get on him.
Dummy half runs. Harry Grant leads the comp by a mile away.
There we go. Mitch Kenny, 39th. You wonder why people fucking can't stand Mitch Kenny's in terms of average dummy half runs. Mitch Kenny's 39th.
See, some great stuff. Oh, he's a good one. Who leads the comp in ruck infringements?
It's got to be a Rooster.
It's actually not. They don't even make the top 20.
Really? Oh, is this like 6 agains?
Yeah, 6 agains. Not penalties. Gerbo, Ford, Reed Marnie, Cohen Hess, Tarpanay, Amoli.
Oh, there you go.
So that's pretty interesting. Here, player in support, Dylan Edwards, the most supportive bloke in the NRL, followed by Kurt Capewell.
There you go. Gutherson. Gutherson doesn't surprise me. Ray Stone's always coming through the middle. Tyrell Sloan, if you look at him when you get on these players for any time, it's usually them backing up.
Yeah.
So if you are doing this, is you going deep into your same game multis. If you're looking at doing same game multi, and you're playing a team like the Dogs who leak points through the middle, you look for those teams that concede long range tries. There's stats you can find out there. You overlay that with the players that back up and support from that team, and you get on them. So if a team's conceding if Dogs concede long range tries against Penrith, then Dylan Edwards is your boy.
Dylan Edwards, even Cleary. If Cleary puts someone through, he'll chase.
Yeah, that's where
Sorensen. He's actually scored a lot of tries backing up as well.
He has, and it's off the back of like Fisher Harris. A couple of them, like him back on the inside. So
yeah. Lovely pack of stats here. I do have stats on short dropouts 1, though. Interesting. Half breaks. That's some dangerous blokes, half breaking things. Hammer, AJ, Selwyn, Drinkwater. Luke Brooks, that doesn't surprise me. He was a dangerous bloke. No, we need more stats. We need more. But anyway, sorry, we digress. Cronulla to pump. I didn't touch one Sunday game, so it is all happening. All right, my bruh. I gotta close this off. I actually got a basketball game I'm gonna get to.
Good luck.
Fucking 10 p.m. boy. Let's go. I'll catch you next week.
See you,
Good luck on this week's bits, bro.
You too.